The day we've all been waiting for is finally here. On October 2nd, the Naxxramas raid is officially launching. That's right, get your guilds ready because we're about to step in to one of the most legendary and challenging raids in World of Warcraft history. Whether you're tackling it with your guild for the first time or returning to face KT once more, Naxxramas is packed with incredible fights, loot, and a whole lot of chaos. This raid is going to push you and your guild to the limit, so make sure you're fully geared and ready to go. Real quick, we're just going to break down everything that comes out. So we get the world event, which this is the invasion. Defend Azeroth from the Scourge invasions by facing off against the relentless undead forces. We also get the raid, Naxxramas, where we gather everyone to go and take KT down. We also get our class sets. We get the tier 3 looks for all of our classes. If you're a warrior that's not tanking, unlucky, we don't really get to see much of the cool stuff, but at least we get to look at it from other people. We do get the legendary staff, Atish, however you want to say it. I always fuck it up. It's something that you should pay attention to, though, if you're a warlock, because you will be bringing that puppy into TBC for the first phase. The buff is very good, and I think a lot of people are going to use it over the previous stuff. Now, they've updated the reputation rewards, so now you can earn new and improve rewards by increasing your standing with Argent Dawn faction. This is basically the last phase of Argent Dawn rep rewards coming out. You're going to see a bunch of the Frost Res gear, and obviously we can't make the Frost Res gear right away, but what you can do is have your rogues run inside Naxx once they're attuned and pick the frozen runes off the wall, because you need the frozen runes to craft 90%, if not 100% of the Frost Res gear, which you will need a little bit of it for Saffron. And obviously, we get the world PvP objectives, where we battle for key locations in Silithus and Eastern Plaguelands. And if that wasn't enough, we've got even more big news. We might be seeing the Burning Crusade content come before the end of the year. That's right, we may actually receive pre-patch in December. A lot of people think January. I actually thought February for the longest time, but it looks like January might actually be our goal point to start TBC. That's right, the clock is ticking, and we're just a few weeks away from Naxxramas. And we're just a few weeks from Naxxramas wrapping up, and then bam, TBC could be here. A whole new expansion, new dungeons, and new raids to dive into. But that's not all. This launch is coming with a whole lot more action. Alongside Naxxramas, we also have the invasion event, which is running up until October 30th. Investigate the Scourge activity and thwart invasions throughout Azeroth. Keep your eye on the map to locate these hotspots of activity and put them to a stop. In each invasion point, engage with rare undead who each have a chance to drop various helpful items. Find additional foes in Dire Maul, RFD, Scarlet Monastery, Skolamance, Shadowfang Keep, and Stratholme. These will be random mobs, I think Stratholme's Balfazan, and there's a couple others, obviously. Along the way, you'll collect necrotic runes used to purchase limited time gear and consumables during the event from Commander Thomas Halloran at Light's Hope Chapel, including Blessed Wizard Oil and concentrated sharpening stones, major healing potions, and major mana potions, and very much more. This time, to ensure all the realms can experience the full benefits of this event, they're introducing a new catch-up system to ensure no realm falls too far behind in progress. With mega servers, I don't know that if this is super necessary, but if a realm has not reached a minimum threshold of battles won against the Scourge each week, the system will raise the realm to said minimum to allow players to have access to the next threshold's reward. So in the first week, we need to win a minimum of 100 battles, and then we get the Lesser Mark of Dawn. Second week is 200 battles, Mark of Dawn, and then the third week is 300 battles for a Greater Mark of Dawn. These are all used to turn in. The system will only activate on realms that have not met the minimum of battles won. In addition, realms that have exceeded the minimum battles won will not be lowered. There's no cap on how many zones can be defended during the 4-week invasion period. The catch-up system will only affect which rewards are available to players. 4 weeks after the start of invasions, realm will progress to the epilogue portion of the event, and invasions will cease to incur. However, players can still turn in their necrotic runes for 1 additional week. So that means any of the Blessed Wizard Oil, Consecrated Sharpening Stones, Major Healing Potions, Major Mana Potions, if you forgot to buy those the week before it ends, or the week as it ends, you still have 1 more week after the event to spend them. There's also going to be World PvP events and rewards in Silithus and Eastern Plagueland. Now, there is a zone-wide buff that happens. Each tower sees not only grants strategic advantages, but together they ignite a zone-wide surge in damage against the undead, turning the tide of Azeroth's fate in your favor. This buff is only affected for those in EPL and does not affect Naxx. 1% damage for 1 tower, 2% damage for 2 towers, 3% damage for 3 towers, and 4 towers, 5%. Gotcha. Bet you thought I was about to say 4. There's also PvP events in Silithus. The battle for supremacy erupts between the Horde and Alliance as the champions clash in the shifting sands of Silithus. Uncover hidden geysers and seize the Silithus before your foes. But beware, claiming it instantly flags you for PvP, so if you're on a PvE server, you might want to be careful. With the weight of Silithus slowing your steps and unable to use your mount, strategy, and courage become your greatest weapon. Alternately, strike down enemy carriers and watch their Silithus tumble to the sand. Deliver each Torius Hall to your faction's outpost, mark on your map. Only one faction will reach the goal of 200 Silithus and claim ultimate victory. The faction that completes the race to 200 Silithus collect receives Cenarian's Favor, a zone-wide buff which increases CC rep gained from killing monsters by 25%. The buff applies to any player within Silithus and the AQ instances. The rewards from the Silithus PvP event is 20 reputation with the Cenarian Circle faction, 1 honor point, and traces of Silithus, the 30-minute buff. Obviously, the big thing to talk about is Naxx launches. Now, you're going to want to be prepared for Naxx. You're going to want to have all your consumables. You want to be fully world buffed, and you want to be ready to go. There's plenty of old VODs of Naxx runs that you could watch if you're someone that needs to brush up on something like this, or there's people that stream all the time. I know Greek Warrior and Dwarf Lord both stream their Naxxramas runs on Classic Era, which is something that I wanted to talk about real quick. Do you think Classic Era is actually going to have a complete falling out because now Anniversary has Naxx? I'm unsure. We'll finish off this video going over some of the notable loot and potentially some of the items you may want as a player moving on to TBC, or just personally that you want to collect. So obviously we have the full tier 3 sets from any class. Now, even though warriors don't use it as DPS, you may still want to pick it up. It does cost money. You have to remember that you actually have to craft these things, just like we did in AQ. There is going to be a whole extensive list on how much you have to craft. And then obviously we can talk about this real quick. Getting into Naxxramas is not free. You actually have to attune. You need to have at minimum honored reputation, which will cost you a metric fuck ton. From what I've heard, Anniversary servers have already yeeted the arcane crystals into the 180 gold range. So if you're not revered at minimum and or exalted, you're going to be spending a lot of gold within the next 2 weeks. So if you haven't already got your arcane crystals to go in, I would suggest that you start farming Stratholme or Skolemans for your reputation. So that way you can actually raid on the launch day. There's nothing worse than not having yourself attuned or not even having the gold to attune while trying to maintain consumables going into Naxx. Some of the other cool items, though, that come are going to be the Corrupted Ashbringer. This thing looks phenomenal. And obviously, we can still talk about the time that Stay Safe decided to keep a raid main spec, off spec, and a Warlock won this to get ready for MOP. I hope you're out there somewhere, man, and I hope your pet in MOP right now is using this bad boy, because what a W. What a fucking long play that was. We also have the Might of Menthol. A lot of Paladins and Warriors are going to want to pick this puppy up. It hits like a damn truck. And its stats are crazy. This is just a go-to. Everybody wants Mom. The Ret Swamp Mom. Sven, who doesn't even play the game, is probably going to come back just to get Mom. It's the big weapon to get. A lot of PvP warriors will want this thing. Is it going to be a huge power stroke going into TBC? No, not really. It looks good, though. A lot of these items are going to be relatively somewhat useless. King's Fall, on the other hand, if you're a warrior that cannot get an offhand, or you have Edge Masters or even ACLGs. ACLGs are probably a little bit better coming into Naxx because you don't lose as many stats. King's Fall is going to be a phenomenal offhand weapon for every warrior. Every warrior. Tank warriors, DPS warriors. Crazy, I know, right? But yes, a dagger will outperform probably 90% of the weapons in Naxx because it is a KT weapon. That's something that you have to remember. We also have the bow. This bow replaces the gun from AQ off of Oro. Doesn't matter. There's probably 4 of you that actually have it in this world right now. Like, I'm not even kidding you. We don't even have enough time to get this. So if you got this, or if you got the Oro gun, you're probably not getting this. But if you get both, fuck you. I'm still using my AV bow, homie. Obviously, the big one that we can end on here that everyone and their sister and brother and uncle and aunt are gonna want. That's the Hungering Cold, THC. This thing looks phenomenal. This is the blade of 1,000 truths, if you will. How do you kill that which has no life? Truly, if you pick this up in Anniversary, I am so jealous of you, and you're probably the guild leader. But yeah, no, grats if you get this. This item's super sick. Will it be useful in TBC? No, it gets fucking replaced right away. Like, it actually gets replaced by a green weapon, I think. Or actually, no, it gets replaced by a blue weapon in the high 60s. But yeah, it looks really cool. So if you're someone that wants to just collect in this version of Anniversary, then by all means, try to get it. So if you're hyped for Naxxramas, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell so you don't miss a single notification, and be sure to join our community Discord to chat with fellow players and get notifications whenever I either go live or the community goes live. I'd like to know, is this your first time entering Naxxramas, or is this your 4th or 5th? Are you excited for Naxx, or are you more excited for TBC about to be launching, potentially even in 2025, instead of what we expect it to be 2026? That's all for today, folks, though. Get ready for Naxxramas, gear up, join the invasion. Let's make this Naxxramas one of the best phases of Classic Anniversary. If you didn't know, we're regularly live on Twitch, so go and check us out there. We raid on 2 warriors, one in a speedrunning guild with Fusion, which is a lot of fun. It's actually my first time speedrunning. We're going to have a whole video talking about the speedrunning community later on, probably in a couple weeks. This week coming up, we have another video talking about how we can prepare for TBC. We just popped our video out preparing for Naxx, so if you haven't checked that out, it will either be in the description or it will be on the end screen. Again, if you haven't joined the Discord, go ahead and do. It'll keep you up to date on everything. Hopefully this video did a really good job explaining what comes in Phase 6 and help you prepare a little bit for Naxxramas. We're going to start working on more TBC stuff like I just mentioned, and hopefully you stick around for that. But until next time, take care.